Hey everybody, here real quick to do a real quick look at Bitcoin and some potential future predictions of where this little monster might be going. A couple things that I'll point out here are we've got, of course, our main run from 6K up to about 11,685, looking at Bitstamp on the 2 hour chart. And then we had basically a double top where we went up to, 11. Sorry, I guess that'd be 11,780, and then down, and then back up to 11,682, and then I have a reverse retracement down to where the most recent low was, which was about 73.26. Then we're seeing that things have kind of gone up a little bit, and I want to zoom in just a little bit on this chart, but I wanted to show you before I did that the aqua colors are based on the most recent run, the big run, right? And then the yellow lines here, we've got them aligned with the most recent drop in price. So, a couple things to note is some of these retracement lines are very close together. They're very close to one another, and that's kind of important because it's going to help us signify where our main points of support and resistance are going to be. And actually, the two of the lines that I wanted to pay close attention to are, of course, where the bottom was. It happened to be the 23.6% retracement based on the run, that the initial run that we had. And then the place where it stopped, you can see, was right here where it met the 50% retracement, which actually was the 38.2% from the recent drop. So this is a big area of support at this point. This is a big area of resistance. One of the things that we're not looking at right now, and I'm not going to look at it right now, is the long term downward trend from 20K, where it went from 20K, it went down here and hit right around 11,685 or so, and it's continuing to go down. And that trend line happens to be somewhere between probably 9,800 and $10,000. So just kind of keeping that as a mental note of where we're potentially going to be going. Now, zooming in here, there's a couple things to look at on our indicators that we have. The first thing to take a note is our Stoke RSI. We are kind of heading downward, but you can see anytime things go down, they tend to sort of pick up. Just looking at some of the history, you can see we've got some ups and downs. We may go down into this territory, and if we do, that's not a good sign because you can see what happened the last time we did that. So the question remains, are we bound to do the same thing that we did, in the past when we're kind of heading down in this direction where we go all the way down, we have a bounce up, and then it turns around. And you can see we had almost the same action that happened right here, except it didn't go down as far as we did here recently, but it went up. And then we're starting to kind of go back down, but we're still seeing a lot of sideways action. And there's a reason why that is. Even though the RSI is going and looking that everything is really oversold, is we don't have a lot of volume. Now, I haven't looked specifically at Bitstamp, but I know for a fact that on GDAX, on Coinbase, the volume is super low. And what that means is there's not a lot of people doing market buys and market sells, which that it translates into, it doesn't take a lot for the RSI to look oversold or overbought. If there's a lot of selling pressure, it's not going to take a lot for the RSI to go down to the bottom because there's not a lot of resistance in that sell. One of the things that we saw earlier was the Twitter saying, um, you know, Mt. Gox is sending their bitcoins to an exchange. Turned out being false. Now, keep in mind when you see a Twitter post or whatever it might be saying that there's been 7,000 bitcoins that have been sent over to an exchange. take a look at that because all of the Mt. Gox wallets, they all have approximately 2,000 Bitcoins each inside of them. I'm sure they did that on purpose to prevent them from getting hacked, yet again. So just sort of keep that in mind that, there's going to be some validation that you're going to have to take to validate those claims. But so we're seeing a little bit of a consolidation pattern here, in addition to um, us bouncing off of the resistance and then now bouncing off of the support. I'm sensing that we're probably going to stay in this channel for a small period of time, unless of course we fall below this channel and we get below what this particular point here, which is at 82.23. Personally, I think that Bitcoin really needs to find a home below 6,000 before we can really turn ourselves around. We need that institutional money to enter the market, because if that doesn't happen, we're just going to continue with the same mundane market patterns that we have. The only thing that has actually been really nice lately is that the altcoins seem to be back on track to um, see some support, which is really great. We're seeing a lot of things moving upward. A lot of it is driven based off of news. A lot of it is driven based off of actual development. So that's really good to see. But at any rate, Bitcoin, we're seeing a lot of consolidation happening in this pattern. Personally, I'm doing a lot of consolidation, not necessarily on Bitcoin, but other altcoins as well, trying to increase the Satoshi value that I currently have, and also taking into account the volume, because again, if there's not a lot of volume in the exchanges, you're going to see you're going to see some inaccuracies with these chart indicators because of the volatility. So take a look at the volume. Once you see volume kick back up, I want to say that on GDAX, when I was checking earlier, that the 24-hour Bitcoin volume is getting really close to actually going under 10,000 Bitcoin in that 24-hour period. Actually, at this point in time, it's 88.51 in a 24-hour period. That is so low. It's just unbelievably low. So there's not a lot of traders that are actually entering the market. If we go back here and take a look at this small period of time, let me just kind of adjust this so we can see it. Look at how much volume there was here. There was so much, both buying and selling, of course. You saw a lot of selling pressure at first, and then a lot of buyers coming in. This is an incredible amount of volume, and it's basically been just shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And so at some point, there's going to be a change in sentiment. It's either going to be bullish or it's going to be bearish. I personally think that, again, that we are going to continue to go down, and it's possible that we may see another bump up here to 8,800, 8,900. It would be really, really great if we could bounce up to maybe 9,500. But I think if that happens, we're bound to come down pretty hard, because there's going to be a lot of people, myself included, that have been accumulating in this area. They're going to see a good opportunity to sell, and I will be doing that. I will be doing that. I'll be selling if we do happen to jump up here, and then wait to see what happens, because I expect, sometime in the next 2 weeks, we're probably going to be going down quite a bit. So those are the thoughts that I have on Bitcoin right now. Feel free to ask me questions, leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me, and hope you have a good day.